What is up, guys? So in this video I'll be telling you guys which episode of the arrowverse was the best this week. Basically I'll be ranking all 4 episodes and then give them in each a mini review. I'll be doing this every week from now on if this video is successful. So anyway, at 4th place is Arrow with Reversal. This is the 2nd week in a row that Arrow was the worst of the week. This episode was garbage in my opinion. Felicity being the main character of an episode is something I honestly thought I would never see again. I thought the Arrow writers actually realized their mistakes with season 4, where she was basically the main character for every single episode, but it seems like they really didn't. Felicity, she was bearable for the entirety of season 5. She was not the main character. She was in the background for all of it. In this episode, she was unbearable. You give her a tiny amount of spotlight and she becomes an unbearable character that I really don't want. I just don't like watching. And then Diggle as Green Arrow has now become really boring to me because he doesn't use a bow and arrow. He uses a crossbow, and you really can't tell the difference between a crossbow and a gun when it's dark, which is basically all the Arrow fight scenes. And I said this a couple times, guns in a fight is just really boring compared to a bow and arrow because everybody uses guns. You can't really see what's going on. A bow and arrow is just so much more interesting in fights. I just really can't wait for Oliver to finally come back as Green Arrow, which I'm pretty sure is in episode 7. In 3rd place this week is Legends of Tomorrow with Phone Home. A lot of people seem to love this episode, and I can definitely see where they're coming from. It was a lot of fun, and I'm guessing the E.T. factor, the nostalgia for E.T. really made this episode better for some people. But I never watched E.T., so I didn't have that nostalgia factor, and I didn't like this episode that much. I thought it was a fun episode. I gave it an 8 out of 10. It wasn't a great episode because it really didn't factor into the story at all. It was just another fixing an anachronism episode, which is basically filler except for a scene or two. This episode definitely was much better than the first fixing an anachronism episode, which is episode 2. That was crap, but it was nowhere near as good as the other 2 episodes of episode 1 and 3, which actually contributed to the overall plot and were just overall better episodes. In 2nd place this week, and this was actually a really close one, almost got 1st place. It was like a race between these two. But in 2nd place is Supergirl with The Faithful. This episode was great. The villain was very interesting and original and really had a great backstory. I really love it when they use something that happened in a previous season to affect something years later in a current season. Although I thought the way they took him down was pretty lame and anticlimactic, it didn't retract from the episode that much. The episode had a lot of emotional moments and even one from a minor one-off character, which was really surprising. Coming in 1st place, just beating out Supergirl by a little bit, is The Flash with Elongated Journey into Night. Everything about this episode was great. It introduces us to Ralph Dibny, who is already one of my favorite Arrowverse characters. Just from the one episode we saw of him, he was funny, he was interesting. Hartley Sawyer was a great actor. His powers were really fun, interesting, and funny to watch. And I just really like watching this guy. I feel like he's going to be one of my favorite characters going forward. The rivalry dynamic between Barry and Ralph was really great. It was funny at times with the small banter, but then the actual big arguments, basically that one big argument, was really thoughtful, and I didn't know whether to side with Ralph or Barry. It was just a really great scene in general. I went back and rewatched Supergirl and The Flash to see which one was better this week, and when I rewatched The Flash, I actually enjoyed the episode more than I did the first time around. In my full review, I said Preacher was a good villain, but not great. But I actually changed my mind. Preacher was actually a great villain. He was menacing and funny at the same time. Although he wasn't funny on purpose, I just felt I really enjoyed watching Preacher. I thought he was a great villain. I don't know what I was thinking in my first review. The only thing that bothers me about this episode is that it creates a big plot hole. If you don't know what it is, find out about it in my full review in the top right corner of the video. It's there. The writers said that they actually did forget about it, and they were like, screw it, it's fixed because of Flashpoint, and I just feel like that's really lazy. You could just basically do whatever they want now because they did Flashpoint, and that really actually bothers me a lot. It doesn't take away from the episode, it takes away from the Flash in general. But in conclusion, this week had a really strong start with Supergirl, and then a even bigger continuation with The Flash. But once Legends came out, it started going a little bit downhill, and then Arrow came out, and it just fell off the hill completely. Taking the average out of the 4 shows this week, The week got a 8 out of 10. The score was really dragged down by Arrow. But what do you think? Which episode was your favorite this week? Vote in the top right corner of the video and ask you which episode was the best this week. Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, or Supergirl. And let me know in the comments down below what you voted for. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.